Hello, welcome back to my garden here in Denmark. It's the 20th of May and some of the flowers here are a little bit early compared to last year. The alliums have started flowering and the garden is beginning to look good. What a difference it makes when the hedge has its leaves. It's really become really good here. I did have some plants that died during winter. We had a really wet winter. Not that cold, but really wet. So I've made a few purchases. And this is a really nice looking double. I think it's called Petite Jenny and it's a Lychnis. And that is a really good looking flower. I haven't had that one before. It's supposed to be sterile, it's a double, it's supposed to be blooming for a rather long time. Let's see how it turns out. The single variety is a native here in Denmark and I have that one as well. I have a, let's call it a meadow-like border on the other side of the house. And there I have the single variety. I think this one looks really well as well. I do like the single variety. This one is supposed to be blooming a little bit longer and hence I've gone for this one for this side of the house. Also right here, a real stunner. That is a Jacob's Ladder called Hoplis, also a sterile variety. For this one, well, we all know that Jacob's Ladders can spread quite a lot and hence I've gone for a sterile one. And I don't know if that one blooms for longer, but there it's more of the seeding around that could be an issue. And I have a couple of places in the border that did not do that well. I will check my videos from last year to see which plants didn't make it and considering if it's worth purchasing them again. Notice right here I have a peony. It's Peony Bowl of Beauty. Not yet in flower, but here in this location in the garden it will bloom. I have it in a multitude of locations in the garden and this is the only place where it's going to bloom. And in the other places it looks really bad. So yeah, a couple of plants died around this one. And also this one looks really dry. Yeah, we've had not a lot of rain, but yeah, I think I'm gonna find a better spot for those plants that look really dry already, because it hasn't rained for a while, but not that long. So I'm gonna move some of those plants out of there, and I am gonna move those peonies to this location instead and see if they do as well as this one. I'm hoping they do. That would look really good. And yeah, the alliums. I mainly have Allium Gladiator. No, sorry, it's Globemaster. It's not Gladiator. I mainly have the Globemaster. Globemaster is sterile, it will not spread by seed, so all of these that you see here were planted in. It does multiply quite a lot though, but will do so by forming a clump, not by spreading any seeds. And of course it will not have any of those seed heads that you usually see on allium. Some use them for decorations. Also a beauty, Geum, totally tangerine. That is a really good Geum if you ask me. And yeah, here you can see the mature Hoplis, the Jacob's Ladder, that I purchased some more of. And I think this is like 7 plants planted together and they do look really nice. I like the foliage on them and I like the flowers on them. I had them here last year and they performed really well for me. So that one has a great recommendation from me. And what I'm thinking is I'm gonna dot those other plants that I purchased around the garden to replace some of the bare spots. And yeah, as I said, I'm gonna look at the video from last year just to see which plants did not make it. That is a nice looking iris right there. I did move that to here last year as it was in a spot where it wasn't doing very well, and I'm hoping that it's gonna do really well right here. Also looking great, this other side of the border. I do have a plan going on right here. I have a, what's it called, a pinaculata hydrangea right here. Pinas do very well for me as they don't freeze to the ground as other hydrangeas do here. But I am thinking that this part right here, I would like some height there. And this particular pinaculata does not get that tall. Oh, and now the cat wants to join us as well. Oh, yeah, well, perhaps it didn't want to join us. But what I'm gonna put in here is I am gonna add in this one. That is Magnolia Susan, and Magnolia Susan will basically take its place of this hydrangea, and I'm gonna move the hydrangea. That is a really good hydrangea. These pinas, I really like them, but I think this particular one is will be better for me in another location. Perhaps in one of those bare spots, right? Yeah, as you can see, the middle border project here, I am clearing this part, this particular part of the middle border. I'm gonna put grass in again, right here. So this will offer me some plants as well. But the majority of those are gonna go to a new border that I'm putting in. Yeah, and this one, I told you that I had no peonies, no bowl of beauties that were flowering in or gonna flower in any other place. And yeah, that is the truth. This one is not a bowl of beauty. I don't know what this one is. You can see in here though, here I have a bowl of beauty. You'll notice no flowers on that one, or no buds. Now for a view, just look at that. Now that is a stunning view, right? Geum totally tangerine right there. Allium Globemaster flowering in there. Also, yeah, that is a dead nettle called, I think it's called Ovala in there. I think that one though might be something that's seeded in a wild seedling perhaps. I don't think that one to the left of it is an Ovala, but it is also looking great. Pond area, yeah, pond and pond, right? A bowl of water, right? That is looking really great right now. I really like the look of this. Of course, you can see that it has not rained for a while. This it could use some additional water. Let's see when it's gonna rain. Hostas this year, they're looking really great in there. Really great looking hostas. And those I put in a couple, was that last year? Yeah, I think that was last year that I added those plants at the back. They are gonna fill in. That will look better in a year or so. Something, I think in Danish we call it a copper rose. That one is gonna grow taller. I can't remember what it's called in English. It's one of those roses. You have it for the foliage and for a very short flower duration as well. And then you have it, after that you have it for the berries as well. But the foliage on this one, the reason why we call it a copper rose in Danish is the leaves on it look, well, a bit like copper, right? That is a great looking corner, I think. That's really, that is that's not entirely bad, right? Yeah, this a little bit messy right now, but I am actually convinced that this will fill in really nicely. So what I am gonna do is Well, pretty much exactly nothing. I am gonna trim the butterfly bush in there. Planted last year. Butterfly bushes are not invasive here where I live. I'm on pretty heavy clay, and yeah, butterfly bushes. Yeah, I've actually never seen one germinate here. Perhaps they can, but definitely not invasive here where I live. Also, I did add a rose in there, so all I'm gonna do with this part of the border is, yeah, I'm gonna weed it. Could always do with a bit of weeding, right? But other than that, I am gonna simply leave it and see how it looks next year. This part in here, yeah, first of all, this one pretty much the same as the one I planted behind the, let's call it the pond, and that's gonna flower really nicely with those flower spikes later in the year. In here I did move things around, though. You might not be able to notice, but that bush, or rather that shrub right there, is in a new location because it used to be over here. And I found that it has, I had planted it too close to this Magnolia Sieboldi, recovering from quite a heavy frost that it suffered quite late. Yeah, that's just what happens, but just look at that. It is recovering really nicely. So not that big of an issue. I think it has lost quite a lot of flower buds though. But yeah, it's one of those that flowers in June. But I think that is a nice view as well, especially considering that I moved some this shrub out of there. Also this Cornus siberica in there that you can see, I moved that one from there to there basically, so quite a bit to the left. Look at that, look at that. This is Iris siberica. I believe that it might be Caesar's brother or something like that. I could put in the name for that one. That is a nice looking blue. But yeah, that's not everything here where you see a bare spot is something that has died. Some of it is just stuff that is being, yeah, I'm not sure what the correct word is for that, but slight adjustments, right? Let's see how it goes. Oh, and this is the border. Yeah, this is the part of the border that goes away, right? That's gonna be removed, and I am gonna move the plants out of there. The majority of these plants are plants that I want to keep, and I am gonna move them out, especially since the majority of these plants had no issues surviving this winter, even though it was rather wet. I think it will look great up here, having sort of like a patch of grass up here again. It's not the main part of this border that I'm going to remove. That is down here. There I'm gonna keep it, but up there I'm gonna put in grass again. Let's see when that happens, right? It's definitely quite hot today. Yeah, and again over here, that same iris that we saw earlier I have here as well. That is a great looking iris, and this is a great looking view. I think I'm gonna move this obelisk just a bit, as in putting it in here instead. That would sort of provide again a nice view in there, right? I think at least that's what I think. Of course I can play around with where to put them for a while. This is rather good looking as well, right? I cleaned out this barrel, and yeah, was of course some work, but not as much as you might think. As there's a pump in there, you attach a pipe and just let it drain itself, and then you turn it over, and that's why a couple of plants in front of it just need to recover a little bit. In there I have a very dry shade in there, and again I am using that dead nettle called Ovala in there. Might be a bit tough to spot on the video, but that is a really good performer in dry shade. Really doing well in there. I did have to keep it well watered last year where I planted it, but this year I've not yet watered it and it's just looking great. Some of these geranium seedlings in there are looking rather dry though. That's a plant that put itself in, I believe, and I have that throughout that back of this border. That is a plant that the bees just, yeah, they really like it. Same goes with the alliums. At least they've only just started flowering, these alliums. But later, I think in like a week from now, the bees are gonna be all over those. This border is not looking bad. That is a great looking border. And that is a great looking tree as well. That is actually rather good. On the other side though, there has been a couple of issues over here. I had some agastachias in here and they did definitely not make it. That is a total loss, I believe. Perhaps there's one that actually did make it, but other than that, agastachias, I think it's Agastache Black Adder that I have in here, and yeah, not much remaining. But yeah, that's how that is. I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do about that. And as I mentioned, I have quite a lot of plants up there that needs a new place. So at least some of them could go in there. Tulips, they have been scorched in the sun. They are at the very end of their flowering right now. This is the very end for these, and not looking that good, but they won't keep those blooms for long, and then it's gonna look really great again, I think. So no issues there. A bit of a dry spot right here where stuff has issues growing. Oh. And yeah, just my phone telling me that I'm running out of battery. I think what I'm gonna do here, yeah, you can see there is actually some foliage here from a geranium. My guess is, I'm not entirely sure, could be either Anne Folkart or Anne Thompson, but in either case I purchased some dead nettles that won't get as tall as those Ovala dead nettles. And I think they're gonna do really well here where it's sort of dry. It has become more and more dry due to that tree that's gonna grow, and it's gonna be even drier in the future. Now this is actually, it's not looking half bad though, right? Spot in there, that is also Agastache Black Adder that I had in there. No signs of it anymore. I think the rest in there is mainly weeds. Yeah, weeds know what they want. When they see a bare spot, they're gonna fill it. So I need to establish something in there as well. Roses right here are looking great. I did have a geranium. This is a geranium, I think, was it called Turtle or something like that? I can't remember, but it's a nice looking one. But I wanted to have it so that that it would hide the what do you call it, the stems of these roses. I did trim these roses back, but it seems to be doing very well on the sunny side and not that well where there is no sun. So I am gonna form a new plan. Yeah, you can literally see the difference, right? That is how it looks without a lot of sun. and that in there is what it looks without a lot of sun, and that is how it looks in the sun. Yeah. I think I'm gonna mount a rescue mission at some point in time to get those the smaller ones out of there. Blueberries, I moved those. They were closer to the house. Were moved in very early spring, and they seem to be doing really nicely. Also, I moved their soil. They need to be in acidic soil, and I'm on clay here, so I moved the soil with them. These were originally established 6 years up there, where I'm gonna put in this new border, and I think they're gonna look really great down here, of course with a path around them that I am gonna cover up in bark, and I think it's gonna look great. And just look at the flowers on those. I am gonna watch those here while it's dry, because currently I have no bark cover on this yet, and that means that water evaporates rather fast from it right now. But considering that I moved them, they're looking great. They did come out with a lot of clump on them though, so they seem to be doing really nicely. Also, I cut them back a little bit to reduce the foliage that each plant has. Yeah, it's basically, you need to watch your ratio, right? Because they did lose some roots, and hence they would have had too much foliage considering the amount of root that were left on them. And a nice thing here though is that they are responding to these cutbacks really, really nicely. They are shooting, and they are all shooting from the base. And that is always a really good sign. It means that they're in growth. I might have to watch the amount of berries on them though. Setting berries will take its toll on them. And I have my potatoes in containers. I did purchase some new containers for these, and let's see how they do. I'm pretty sure that the rest of them will germinate without any issues. And this path, of course, will also open up a really nice view to this magnolia. That is Magnolia nigra. Lost quite a lot of its flower buds, but also quite a lot of them survived. And that is looking really great, right? And just look at that view from down here. That's not bad. And of course, the grass path is going to move a little bit closer to here. And hence it will almost link up with this path around the blueberry border, and I am gonna establish a path through here by moving these plants. Some of these plants, I think some of them are better for dry situations, so I might move them to the other side of the house. And I think some people think that the other side of the house is sort of like the place where plants go to die. Because I might have given that impression that some of the wilder flowers and some of the stuff that needs a dry place to live, I always say they go to the other side of the house and then they are never mentioned again, right? So let's for once go to the other side of the house. This is the other side of the house basically, right? This is an attempt to make a meadow. And I think, there are some children in the neighbor's yard, so I'm not gonna stay here too much. Let's not film them. But you can see it sort of stretches along the side of the house, right? Right down to my compost pile down there. And that is not bad looking. Of course, it's not really in flower yet. Let's just walk into this. It's an attempt of a meadow. In there I had some really bad what we call bindweed, so I covered it up in black plastic. But just look at this plant. It is a nice looking plant, right? And in a couple of days, perhaps a week or so, this is gonna look really nice. Also, this is where the wild bees live. and they are having a really great time during this drought, or mini drought. Let's see how long it lasts. We had such a wet March though, so a mini drought is very welcome actually. Yeah, and yeah, I said I had really bad soil here, and it's a half truth, because as soon as you go up here, it actually becomes really good soil. So what I am gonna do up here is I'm gonna plant my rhubarb in here. I'm gonna move those to here. I've never seen my rhubarb either, but let's not cover those in this video. But first of all, this needs a season to kill the bindweed. That's step one. And in here the soil is a lot better, and that's because when the house was built, the people that built it created like a sand pillow, and they made that sand pillow rather large. So when I purchased the house, there was grass here, and it always turned yellow to a certain amount of space away from the house, and hence I decided, okay, I'm gonna put in these wildflowers, slash some of them are migrated flowers from the border. So it's sort of my attempt to make something that's gonna look a bit wilder and self-seed, be really good for nature. As you can see, the bees are just going crazy in there. But yeah, it only had, the bad soil only had it was only there to a certain degree, and this is sort of the place where everything changes, right? So I think that's gonna be a really great place for my rhubarb. And yeah, that's not looking half bad. And yeah, some of these flowers, where there's really a lot of warmth, they did go into flower a bit earlier. Yeah, I think that might be a really good shot to end this on. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.